Namaskar everyone. Myself, Dr. Jignesh Patel, Head of Mechanical Engineering Department, Dr. Subhash Technical Campus, Junagadh. I welcome all the participants from the more than 15 states of the India and our speaker, Mr. Raj Soni. I would like to introduce about the Mr. Raj Soni. Mr. Raj Soni is a professor turned technopreneur who was earlier working as an assistant professor in the HJD Institute, Kutch. In the year 2019, he has established his firm EduTech 3D. He pursued his doctorate work in metal additive manufacturing, and he is lifetime member of Institute of Engineers India. His area of interest is additive manufacturing and entrepreneurship. He has 7 years of experience in teaching, and he is in the adaptive manufacturing research since 2015. He is organizing workshop FDP, STTP with financial grant in aid from Gujcost, GTU, MHRD, Atal, etc. He has taken several design thinking approach based seminar workshop in various schools and colleges across the India. And he has been conducting online webinar for the dissemination of the 3D printing technology across the India. So once again, I welcome all the participants and our presenter, Mr. Raj Soni, in this webinar, 3D printing, a game changer in manufacturing sector. So once again, welcome to in this seminar. And now I would like to request Mr. Raj Soni to begin this webinar.
So, good afternoon, one and all present over here. I am Raj Soni, founder of EduTech 3D, which is Bhuj Kutch based company which is dealing with the 3D printing education, its sales and services. I would like to thank Dr. Subhash Technical Campus and particularly Mr. Professor J.J. Patel sir and Professor Utsav Dholakia for inviting me for this kind of seminar. I am very much joined with Dr. Subhash Technical Campus because I have taken my life's first Viva was at their place, and at that time Professor J.J. Patel sir has helped me a lot. So, and at the inception of my career as a public speaker in the 3D printing technology, they have given me a chance to represent into their institution as an online mode. So thank you so much, sir, again for this platform. Without wasting much time, let us start today's webinar on the topic 3D printing, a game changer in the manufacturing sector. Let me give you a small introduction about my company EduTech 3D. It is the training provider in the field of 3D printing and reseller of 3D printing products. It is the channel partner of 3D Education, Gujarat region. The company is basically held in New Delhi, and it is in the field of 3D printing education itself. Let us start with the industrial revolutions which the human being has faced till now. There are 4 industrial revolutions being conducted till now, starting from the first industrial revolution 1.0, which was held in 18th century. At that time, James Watt has invented the steam engine, and with the help of steam engine and steam power and water power, entire manufacturing sector was started. उस टाइम पे पूरी जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सिस्टम थी वो स्टीम के ऊपर और वाटर के ऊपर चल रही थी. उसके बाद सेकंड इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन हुआ वो 19वीं सदी में. इन द 19th century सेकंड इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन वाज फेस्ड बाय ह्यूमन काइंड, एंड इट वाज बेस्ड ऑन द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एंड द इन द असेंबली लाइन. तो असेंबली लाइन का इन्वेंशन हुआ. वो कार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर के अंदर पूरी असेंबली लाइन से कार प्रोड्यूस होने लगी, और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ब्रॉडली अवेलेबल होने के कारण पूरा जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर था कि which was totally dependent on the steam power only, it has been transmitted on the electricity, and a new kind of manufacturing has started in the 19th century. after some years in 20th century, in later part of the 20th century, we have faced the third industrial revolution, which is Industrial Revolution 3.0, and it was based on the electronics and the computer. Computer has been invented, so पूरा जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इलेक्ट्रिक पावर के ऊपर चलता था वो अभी सॉफ्टवेयर नए नए इन्वेंट होने लगे, कंप्यूटर्स आने लगे, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सिस्टम सभी डेवलप होने लगी। तो उसके कारण क्या हुआ कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बहुत इजी हो गया, और जो एक टाइम था कोई भी चीज प्रोड्यूस करने का, वो इट हैज बीन लेसन अप, वो टाइम बहुत कम हो गया, और उसके कारण पूरी मतलब यू कैन से इट्स अ रिवॉल्यूशन इन द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, और वो हम फेस कर रहे हैं पूरे पिछले 50-60 साल के अंदर। मेन फ्रेम कंप्यूटर्स आए, पर्सनल कंप्यूटर्स आए, और इंटरनेट की इन्वेंशन।
Oh, speaker, sir, can you speak in English so that we can understand? Everyone can understand. Don't use Hindi words inside in between.
Okay, sir. So in third revolution we have faced this kind of inventions, and currently we are in the fourth industrial revolution. It is, you can say, basically it is the combination of earlier inventions, and pura internet has lessened the distance between these manufacturing systems. You can say the robotics has been invented, the internet of things has been invented, big data analysis, augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D printing, this kind of cyber physical system has been grown up, and we are now featuring into the fourth industrial revolution, which is known as Industry Revolution 4.0. So 3D printing is a kind of technology which we are using in the Industrial Revolution 4.0. This image is of the father of the big revolution, Doug Hull, who has invented 3D printing for the rapid prototyping in the decades of 1980. So initially he has invented this stereolithography apparatus, which was based on the wet photopolymerization technique, and after that many different processes has been started to grown up. He has patented it and established a company known as 3D Systems, which is in today's era a very big company in terms of 3D printing sector. So let me give you a brief introduction about what the technology is. The 3D printing process actually is a layer by layer process. You can make a layer with the help of 3D printer, and on the first layer another layer will be made, and by this manner, as the mason builds a house or some structure, at the same manner is starting to grow up. In this figure you have I have given some idea. In various phases, there are 6 phases of the 3D printing, starting from the 3D CAD model to the entire 3D printed object. First and foremost, we would need to have a kind of software into which we can make our CAD model, and after making that CAD model, it has to be converted into a particular file format, which is known as .stl file. In other terms, it is also known as stereolithography or 3D printing file. After making that file, your 3D printer is not able to understand what data it contains in that .stl file, so it has to be converted into a kind of format which is known as machine readable format, and what we are using to run the CNC machine, that is the G-code file. So that .stl file is need to be converted into G-code file. So for that we would require a kind of software which is known as slicing software. Now we have discussed about 2 softwares. First is the modeling software, another is the slicing software. Both are available in the freeware, or you can purchase it by giving some money. So there are so many kinds of easy softwares available right now, which you can use to learn and grow into the 3D printing. After making that G-code file, it has to be given to 3D printer, and 3D printer starts manufacturing according to the geometry you have provided into the G-code file. And after that, your 3D printer will able to make an entire physical object into 3D shape. Here I have shown an ecosystem of the 3D printing. 3D printing ecosystem contains major 4 aspects of it, starting from the hardware, because the 3D printing is hardware dependent. You can say there are a certain kind of 3D printing processes are there, which we'll be going to consider in the next slide. That all systems are hardware basis, means in some system you have to acquire a kind of process and a kind of material. So according to hardware, your process varies. After considering hardware, you have to acquire the software knowledge for running a 3D printer, for modeling a certain kind of 3D model, for converting that 3D model into machine readable format, that is G code. For entire thing, you have to consider so many kinds of software. So software makes a very good proportion into the 3D printing ecosystem. Next comes the material. Now, till now, we have developed more than 100 materials in different types. For example, thermoplastics are there, polymers, composites, metals, alloys, rubber, elastomers. So many kinds of materials are available which can be deal with any kind of certain kind of 3D printers. So we have enough material in today's era to deal with the 3D printing, and the materials are being introduced. New materials are being introduced day by day as per material science progresses. And fourth pillar of the 3D printing ecosystem, that is service providers, combining three of the earlier stages, means those who are dealing with the hardware, software, and material, and they are giving the services of the hardware, software, or material sizes, or the procurement of material, procurement of hardware, development of software. These all kind of services are being provided by the service providers, and they are taking the 3D printing to the end user of the community. You can say the 3D printing educationalists are there, 3D printing teachers are there. They are providing the services into 3D printing ecosystem. Now, going into kind of 3D printing, or you can say the additive manufacturing technologies, there are majorly 5 types of technologies available till now, starting from the wet photopolymerization, which is the earliest technology ever developed. Charcoal even developed this technology only. In for wet photopolymerization, you can consider this stereolithography apparatus. Digital light processing is also there, which are using resin material and a kind of photocurable light, means you can use the UV light also, UV laser also there for curing a kind of photopolymer material. We'll be going into the next slide in deeply. Second process is material extrusion process, which is also known as fused filament fabrication, or more generally it is known as fused deposition modeling. But fused deposition modeling is a kind of trademark term which is used by 3D Stratasys. So in general, you cannot use the fused deposition modeling name. Instead of that, you would consider the fused filament fabrication. It's a kind of material extrusion process, means you are extruding the material with the help of extruder motor from the nozzle, from the hot end, and you are melting the plastic material. The material is thermoplastic, means according to temperature it melts and it starts flowing out of the nozzle, and it will impart on the platform bed, and it will generate the shape according to geometry provided by us. So it is the material extrusion. Next comes the powder based diffusion, or you can say the laser powder bed fusion, LPBF technologies, into which majorly 2 systems are there dealing with the polymer and the metal. If you are dealing with the polymer kind of material, then you can opt for the selective laser sintering SLS process. And if you are dealing with the metal, then there is a technology known as DMLS, direct metal laser sintering, or in other terms, the selective laser melting is there, or another process which is known as electron beam melting. So these are the process in which you have provided a kind of powder platform. You are spreading the powder on the build platform with the help of recoater, and with the help of laser imparting from the laser head, your material will get fused over that and it will start generating shape into third dimension. Fourth process is known as jetting process. Specifically, binder jetting and material jetting is there. We'll be going through the difference between binder jetting and material jetting later on. And fifth one is the direct energy deposition process, which is also known as laser metal deposition or laser engineered net shaping process, into which we are having the kind of coaxial nozzle for the material and the laser. One nozzle will impart the laser over there from there, and another nozzle will be able to provide the metal powder from there. And at the same time, metal and nozzle and laser will able to melt the metal, and it will start depositing on the platform, and by similar means it will start generating the shape into third dimension. So here I have shown some graphics of some images of various processes starting from photopolymerization, as you can see over here. Yes, this is a resin pool into which a kind of photocurable resin is filled. Resin are of two types. Either it will be the castable resin or another is non-castable resin. Your resin will be able to fuse with the help of photon, means UV light or UV laser. At the place when your geometry is provided, you will be imparting the laser on the resin, and at a particular point your resin will be getting fused and it will start making the shape, and your platform will be upside down in this particular technology, and you will be able to getting the shape in upside down manner from the base to top. And after producing the whole object, you will be able to opt out the material, and after post curing, the material is ready, the object is ready. Now, when to procure this kind of 3D printing system? When you require to have a certain kind of geometry and certain kind of surface complexity, then and then you can opt for this kind of technology. It will give you a tremendous amount of accuracy in shape. Another kind of technology, that is fused filament fabrication or FDM, in which you are that is the material extrusion technology, in which you are extruding the material from the extruder, and here a hot end will be provided. Hot end will be able to melt the material, and material will come out of the nozzle, and it will be imparted on the platform bed, as here the object of a small scale replica of Earth has been made. So as per your geometry, you will be able to impinge the material on the platform, and it will be fused over there, and you will be able to get the material from the plastic or thermoplastic. Third process over here, that is laser powder bed fusion technique or powder bed fusion techniques, into which we are using a kind of laser power to sinter or melt. Here there are two processes. Some machines are able to sinter only, and some machines are able to melt the entire object and melt the entire material. If we are dealing with the plastic or polymer, you can say polymer powder is, if polymer powder is there, then you are not going to melt that polymer powder. Instead, you are only have to sinter that polymer powder, and it will get fused with some kind of binding mechanism over there, and your material will be generated. If you are using the metal powder over here, then also in DMLS you are sintering the metal powder. You are not going to melt the metal powder over there, but instead if you are up for the selective laser melting, then also in the metal particles you would need a more amount of laser power, a more efficient, a more high voltage laser over there, and which will be able to melt the metal powder and start fusing with each other. Also, certain kinds of alloys are also used in this kind of laser powder bed technology. Next comes the jetting technology, into which there are two processes. Binder jetting is there and material jetting is there. It is similar it is similar to injection molding. I request anyone, a background noise is there, please mute from your side. A background noise is there from somewhere. Thank you. In the jetting process, we are having two kinds of process: binder jetting and material jetting. In binder jetting, we are having the powder bed similar to laser powder bed fusion technology. In material jetting, this is similar to stereolithography process. There will be a number of nozzles, tiny nozzles. We will be able to impinge the droplet from there, as it is done in the 2D inkjet printer. In 2D inkjet printer, we are providing the ink powder over there. Instead, over here in the jetting process, we are providing a metal powder or polymer powder, and it will be impinged over the build platform. A laser or UV light will be there on the printhead only, which will able to cure the material which has been deposited over the bed, and it will start getting fused over there, and it will generate the shape. So certain kinds of color jet process or polyjet processes are there, which can able to make the things in monochromatic color or multicolor also. You might have seen a certain kind of figurines or small scale replicas of humans, as well as kind of statues. They all are made of the polyjet processes, color jet processes. And last process is the direct energy deposition, which is also known as laser metal deposition, and lens process also. Lens is a trademark process of a company, in which what we are doing, there will be a number of coaxial nozzles are there. You can see over here in this figure. The laser will be imparted from here, and material will be coming out of here, and it will start melting on the build plate at the same time, and your 3D print will be starting in the same manner. So these are the processes of 3D printing, and various replicas or various new inventions are being done in the field, in the same field. So with respect to our topic is the 3D printing is a game changer in manufacturing scenario. So how it is able to make this kind of big change? Let us start discussing that. Here I have shown a comparison of traditional versus additive supply chains. In traditional manufacturing, what we are doing, we need to have a kind of land acquirement. After procurement of land, we need to manufacture a building at which we can start up our product or manufacturing anything. Material resources we have to provide. We will have to make a depository like garages or inventories over there, and manufacturing will be done at one place only, assembled over there, and it will be distributed to the entire region. The region might have covered up to 100 kilometers or 1000 kilometers or 2000 kilometers, but the manufacturing will be done at the one place only, and we'll have to transfer the material to the end user who might be very far away from the manufacturing unit. But instead, in additive manufacturing, this is not the case. All of that what you would need is to have a system which is compatible with 3D printing. Your computer is there, you make the 3D model in your computer only, and with the help of World Wide Web, the internet, you will be distributing that file which has to be 3D printed to the end user. And yes, new concept named distributed manufacturing you can implement in additive manufacturing. Now, as you can see in this figure, there are 4 different producers, those who have 3D printers with themselves, and here is the end user who require that kind of material, that kind of customized material or customized object, and this manufacturer is able to send that file to the nearest producer, and nearest producer will able to produce the goods for the end user and will supply in no time. So it is the power of distributed manufacturing. And I would like some very new states, as we have all faced the lockdown situation since 2 months. When the lockdown started, before 2 months, no one has heard about the 3D printed face shields. But as the requirement started, in Europe, there was the invention of face shield visors and the strips. And from there, they have open sourced the files. And in entire world, in no times, in 1 or 2 days, all of the 3D printing 3D manufacturers have received that file, downloaded their file, and started making 3D printed face shields by their own. So you cannot even think with this with the help of traditional manufacturing, because it was all closed at the time of lockdown. So this is the power of additive manufacturing. This is the power of distributed manufacturing, we can say. Now a lot of people are comparing the 3D printing with the conventional manufacturing, whether in which situation we would opt for the additive manufacturing and which situation we would opt for the conventional manufacturing. So here is a graph which can be used to compare these two processes. If you require a small amount of goods to be made, let's say 500 to 1000 pieces, then you would opt for the additive manufacturing only. If you want more than 10,000 or 20,000 pieces to be produced, then you can opt for the injection molding or certain kind of conventional processes, because initially you would need to experiment with the kind of designs. So additive manufacturing is having the capability for conducting number of iterations, number of design experiments, and after final proof of concept, you will be opt for the conventional manufacturing, let's say like injection molding and etc. So it is volume dependent. If your requirement is low, opt the additive manufacturing. If your requirement is high, opt for the conventional manufacturing. And I would like to mention one thing also. The additive manufacturing is not going to replace the entire traditional manufacturing. It is the subsidiary, or it is the option, we can say, to this limitation of conventional manufacturing. It will not going to like change over the entire manufacturing scenario. The major effect or major potential of 3D printing technology, we can say, that is the customization. Each and every person has its own desires, its own opinions about the product. So if the end user requires a certain kind of product for their its thinking only, then 3D printing is able to make that customize the product, which is not the capability of traditional manufacturing. For example, here I have shown a case study of 3D printed prosthetic hand. You might have heard about the Enable community, Enable organization in the world, those who are providing the 3D printed customized prosthetic hands to the disabled people, those who have disabled from the either in the birth or after, those who have become disabled afterwards. For example, if, let's say for a small kid who has been grown up in its childhood, so he will be continuously growing. So as its hand will be also continuously growing, so he would require the prosthetic hand change as per its age. So it is not possible to make new prosthetic hand by the conventional manufacturing. It will cost him a huge. But instead of, if we are opting the 3D printing, it will be cheaper at minimum. Another case study of the customized item, it was used in Kesari film, you might have seen. Akshay Kumar wears a turban on which a badge is there indicating 36-6. So this badge was entirely 3D printed. So this is a kind of customization which can be done by 3D printing. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Subhas itself has has organized a webinar on with Mr. Varmora and has discussed the electric vehicles opportunity over there because it is a growing market. So today Dr. Subhas have organized a kind of 3D printed seminar. So what if we combine both the concepts? So this is the best example of the 3D printing and the electric vehicles. This is the car which has been developed by the Italian startup XEV, and which is named as LSEV Yoyo. Low speed electric vehicles, and its name is Yoyo. It is claimed that it is world's first 3D printed electric car, and it is entirely 3D printed, and which can run 70 kilometer per hour speed, and which can go for the 150 kilometers. And the producer of XEV, this car has claimed that they have reduced the car components from 2000 to 57 due to the 3D printing. So this is the power of mass customization, you can say. This is the kind of customization for an entire mass, those who are requiring a kind of budget car and kind of novel car, you can say, then they can have with the help of 3D printing. Another advantage of 3D printing is to make the complex geometries. Now, this is the case study of aeroplane. In aeroplane, there is this kind of bracket, mechanical bracket is being used, and it is heavyweight. So all of us know that the weight of the aeroplane we should make minimum weight of the aeroplane. So for that, what the company has done, they have opted for the 3D printing. They have done the topology optimization over this object and reduce the material as per the capability, and they have reproduced it with the 3D printing. The material which can be as strengthened as the conventional manufacturing, and they were able to make this kind of geometry which is not readily made available with the conventional manufacturing, because this is not the part which is to be produced in mass, more than 1,000, 10,000 numbers. It is the tailor made. So we can use only 3D printing for that. It is more economical than the conventional manufacturing. Many of the people are says that this technology might get the less number of jobs, or take away the jobs from the employees. So is it the case? Let us discuss some. Let us throw some light on this. Now, the technology itself is a growing technology, and more and more areas are being introduced into the 3D printing. So for that, we would need a more number of expertise, more number of intellectual manpower to develop this technology, because they have itself, it has itself started making a new areas of job. For example, 3D CAD designers, product designers. You can opt for this kind of careers as per the ability and capability and skill you have. You can make the career in the bioengineers and scientific modelers as well. You can make the career in material research, because as we have discussed that we are introducing new and new materials to the 3D printing. So there is a huge requirement in the research field of material. We would require specialists, lawyers, and legal professionals to this technology only because this is a new field to the lawyers, and the new laws have been formulated to tackle up this technology. We would require architects and engineers with 3D specialisms, 3D printing, hardware and software developers also is there, and the entrepreneurs developing, bringing new 3D products and applications to market. And we require the 3D printing and designing teachers and trainers also to disseminating this technology to the end users. So these are the new age jobs which has been created with the help of 3D printing. So it is not the case like that will taken up the jobs with from the professionals. Another advantage of using 3D printing technology with respect to subtractive manufacturing technology is here. What we are doing in subtractive manufacturing, we would require a bigger block of material, and on that we are doing a kind of processes like milling, facing, turning, etc. And we are reducing the material from it, removing the material from it, and making a object, 3D object, and we'll be experiencing a lot of waste occurred over there. But instead, in 3D printing, what we are doing, we would require less material to produce because we are going to impinge material layer by layer, so that you will require a smaller amount of material for making a 3D printing object, and you would face the less waste with the help of this technology. So in similar means, you don't need this kind of inventory or the goods collection system for raw material for finished product, because as and when the requirement comes, you would have the material, you would have the 3D printed itself, start 3D printing and dispatch the material as per requirement. So this all can be eliminated with implementing the 3D printing to the conventional manufacturing. In new product development, we are using the 3D printing study. There are more than 50% new product development companies have moved on the 3D printing because it has experienced them to reduce the cost up to 90%. 80 to 90% cost has been reduced with implementing 3D printing technology to the new product development, because they would require number of iterations to be made for the idea generation for product making. So that's why they have opted 3D printing to PH. The best example of it is like this. We are having this kind of facial visor, and before going into market, what we can do, we have done initially experimenting with the 3D printing. We have made 3D printed facials because we had the design open sourced, and we have converted into the 3D object, which can be experienced by the 3D decode file, and we have printed it. After succeeding into this product, now what we are doing, we have injection molding. We are injection molding this and producing in a mass manner. Means 10,000 pieces, 20,000 pieces a time. If we want to produce, then we can opt for the injection molding. So this is the best example of new product development. So let us discuss the mass manufacturing with 3D printing. You might have heard about the hearing aids, and as per the study, almost 95% of hearing aids or hearing implants across the world are made with the help of 3D printing only. The technology for producing the hearing aids are the stereolithography and DLP. So this resin-based technology is able to produce the hearing aids in mass number as per customer needs, because what the companies, hearing aids companies are doing, they are scanning the ear of the customer, and as per the requirement, they are producing the hearing aids. A very well-known company in this field, Starkey, has claimed to make 90% of the hearing aids by the SLA, the 3D printing only. This is also a very familiar case study. You might all have known about this. This is the invention made 2 months in the Italian startup Isinova has done this. What happened over there in the Brescia plant, there was a need of ventilator valves immediately due to the corona patients increment in the hospital, and the local conventional manufacturer wasn't able to cope up with the demand. So what the Isinova did, they have collaborated with local manufacturing unit Lonati, and reverse engineered the valves, the ventilator valves, and started making those valves with the help of 3D printing, the SLS printer and the FDM printers. And within 24 hours, they were able to make more than 100 pieces of the valves, and they have given to the hospitals. Automobile manufacturer company Volkswagen has over 25 industrial printers with them. So what they did, they have collaborated with more than 25 other companies, and they have started making equipment for the medical community with the help of 3D printing. Another tech giant company HP is employing 3D printing expertise by turning its R&D centers in the Spain and the US into factories for manufacturing urgent personal protective equipments. This is the figure of nasal swabs. The mass production of nasal swabs are being done by the printerswabs.org and the Formlabs. What Formlabs did, they have dedicated their own 3D printed form of SLF technology for manufacturing this kind of nasal swabs. Nasal swabs are is the equipment which is used to test the coronavirus patients. So it is in the huge demand, and local manufacturers are not capable enough to producing this in more amount. So this was started making by the 3D printing, and Formlabs is able to provide this kind of nasal swabs more than 75,000 to 150,000 swabs per day. That is a huge capacity, and this is the best example of mass customization and mass production with the help of 3D printing. Some bigger companies have dedicated their entire firm for the production of personal protective equipment in the time of COVID-19. For example, a Barcelona-based BCN 3D has given up its print farm of 63 machines, as you can see over its first figure. They have dedicated their entire print farm to 3D printed masses. A Barcelona-based BCN 3D company has given up its entire 3D print farm. You can see in this figure. They have dedicated their all 3D print farm for the production of personal protective equipment in this situation of COVID-19, to combat the COVID-19 and to produce the medical equipment for the medical community. In the same manner, a company, unnamed company in China, has dedicated its 200 flash forged 3D printers farm for production of 3D printed goggles, and they are producing 200 pieces per day, and they are distributing across the China and after the outside China. Next, as you can see in this figure, China has developed an entire 3D printed cabin. You can say the 3D printed quarantine room. You might have heard about the news that China has developed a hospital in 6 days. So in that construction, they have introduced the 3D printing in construction. A company named Vinson has dispatched 15 3D printed quarantine rooms to the hospitals in the Hubei province, from which the coronavirus has started spreading. And they have made this whole structure from the urban construction waste, and they are claiming that these printed walls are 3 times stronger than the traditional concrete walls. Now, we are facing some challenges also in 3D printing. For example, the cost of the equipment is very much high. If we talk about the 3D FDM 3D printers, that is in the reasonable price. But if we talk about the metal 3D printers, they come in lots of lakhs rupees or even in the crores. So that cost has to be taken down for the normal people and the normal applications. Second is the material available for the industry. We are currently having more than 100 materials, but we would require a more type of material for each and every industry to be operated. Third is the post processing, because in some cases, for example, the powder bed fusion technique, we have to remove the powder, we have to vacuum out all the powder, and post process the printed object. In the fused deposition modeling, we need to remove the support structures and all that thing. So for that, post processing is required. Next is the manufacturing cost. As the material is costlier, the printer is costlier, so you can get the manufacturing cost in higher amount, so it has to be lower. Next is the expertise, or we can say the lot of expertise, because we need a qualified, trained manpower to operate the 3D printers and to deal with the softwares and all that thing. So for that, as earlier we have mentioned in the employment slide, okay, we need to have a certain skills for dealing in the 3D printing industry. If we don't have that skill, we need to acquire, or otherwise we will be thrown out the industry. And next is the software
What is the
development.
approximate cost of printing 3D printing machine?
Sorry.
What is the approximate cost of a particular 3D printing machine?
Hello, sir. We have a question answer session after the completion of this webinar. So please don't disturb the.
Sir, only 2 to 3
sir.
slides are there. Then after we will be
Okay,
able to
okay,
have
thanks.
the question and answer. Okay, sir. And last is the software development and capabilities. To operate the 3D printer, to make the 3D model, to convert into the machine readable format, we are using a lot of softwares that needs to be upgraded. It needs to be developed more and more with the great user interface. So this is the challenge also to make this kind of softwares. According to me, the current situation is the best and which can be considered as a turning point for us in the 3D printing sector, because in the Asia currently only China have the proportion of nearly 50% on the 3D printing equipments in 3D printing industry. Second comes the Japan, who is contributing it's 30 to 32% of the overall market in the Asia. And if we talk about the India, the contribution of India and Indian 3D printing industry is nearly 3 to 5%. So there is a huge scope. We can consider it as a scope for evolvement. We can evolve. We can develop more and more new technology to combat with the other countries, and to develop the more and more economical, feasible, and easily available 3D printing technologies. So according to me, the full potential of 3D printing is yet to be seen in India, and there is a huge scope in development of this sector and the development of new products. If we talk about the future of 3D printing, as per the estimation which has been decided with the year 2013, 14, 15, and 16, you can see the exponential growth of the 3D printing industry. And it is estimated that by the next year, the 3D printing industry will be of something around $21 billion US dollars. So that will generate a huge market, that will generate a huge number of jobs as well. So more and more employment will be generated with the help of this technology. So it is best to invest our time and our money in this technology for the development, for the dissemination. And if not today, then tomorrow we'll have to adopt this technology only. So why not today? So let's start and getting more and more insights in this 3D printing and develop in this sector. Last topic I would like to share with you, and that is the future technology which is known as 4D printing. It is the 3D printing only, but a new parameter has to be considered in this. So that makes the fourth dimension. You can say a stimulus, the external stimulus you have to provide on the 3D printed object, so that it can convert into the required shape and for the any kind of operation. For example, as you can see over here, there is a grabber to grab the nut, but it is 3D printed, and as per the requirement, when you are pushing out the material from the above, it will grab the nut, and that can make a kind of movable thing. In the second figure, if you want to print a sphere, then you would need a certain kind of support need to provide it over here. But instead, if you are printing this kind of material, then after stimulating, means putting into the water or giving some kind of external stimulus, it can change its shape. So it is easily converted into sphere-like shape. So this is the power of 4D printing. This is yet to be explored more by the researchers. It is in the developing stage. Some bigger universities like MIT and Stanford are working over the 4D printing technology. And you might have seen a kind of material known as nitinol, which is the alloy of NiNTi. So it is also this kind of material having the property of this kind. As you are imparting the external stimulus, it starts altering its shape. So it is also a new manufacturing sector. So this was up from my side. If you have any kind of questions, then I am available for the question answer round. I will try to give the every answer of your questions. So I'll start the question answer round.
Dear participants, you can send your through chat box, or you can ask by unmuting your audio also.
Sir, I have a question about 3D printing. That what is the particular cost of a machine?
Sir, if we talk about the fused deposition modeling, which is the cheapest one of all the 5 processes, it's hobbyist version. Means if you have the hobby to make anything by yourself, then you can go for the hobbyist printer. They would cost around something 20 to 30,000. If you actually want to make things which can be used in any kind of application, then the printers are ranging from 50,000 to 2 lakhs. If we talk about the fused deposition modeling only. If you talk about the SLA or DLP, then it would cost something around 3 to 5 lakhs, the starting range I'm talking about. And for the metal 3D printing, the cost would be something around 50 lakhs to 1 crore. That is the starting range.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. What is the basic qualification required for a skilled labor?
Qualification for what, sir?
For the labor operator skill.
Operator to operate the 3D printers.
Yeah.
Sir, they have to acquire some kind of courses with respect to the technician in the 3D printing like that. So they can able to operate the 3D printer machine, or if they are willing to make their contribution in the software side or designing side, then they have to learn at least one software in which they can able to make a kind of 3D model.
Suppose I want to set up a at the micro scale level unit. Okay. So how much the labor force to be required?
Sir, initially you can start it by own because there would not be much work. All of you would need, that is to have a kind of skill in the modeling. Then after modeling, you can be able to identify the 3D printer. And yes, you would have to need the skill of operating the 3D printer also.
Okay. And what about the price comparison between the 3D printing product and real conventional?
We had the graph. Let me go through this. Sir, can you see this graph?
Yes.
Okay. So here there is a horizontal line which indicates the additive manufacturing, and a curve that is indicating the conventional manufacturing. Now it is the number of product dependent. If you have to produce a less number of products, let's say 500 to 1000 products, 500 to 1000 number of products, then you would opt for the additive manufacturing. If your requirement is more than that, then you would opt for the conventional manufacturing. Because for conventional manufacturing, you need to make a kind of mold, and mold making process itself is a very costlier offense. So initially your cost will be so much higher, and to compete that cost, you would require to make a number of products more and more in amount, and then you can cope up with the additive manufacturing. Here is the break-even point, which indicates there is no profit no loss situation between conventional and additive manufacturing. So if you have more number of amounts to be produced to go in this direction only, then you can go for the conventional manufacturing. If it's not, opt for the additive manufacturing.
Okay, Mr. Raj, one more question from the chat box.
Thank you.
Mr. Raj, one more question from the chat box. From the strength point of view, for the same material, which process is better, conventional process or the 3D printing?
For what, sir?
For the strength point of view.
Okay, for the strength
for the
point
same
of
material.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. Yes, I have discussed a case study over here about the airplane usage. Yes. Now, what if the 3D printing does not having the cost, does not having the strength compared to the traditional manufacturing? They won't go for this. Well, that is the final. Means you are having the cost, you are having the strength as much as you can get in the traditional manufacturing. There is nothing difference between them. The material using is the same. In conventional manufacturing, you are using the blank. Instead, in rapid prototyping in 3D printing, you are using the metal powder of the same material. So there will not be any cost comparison, strength comparison between these two.
Okay, and one more question is there. Which software is used in 3D printing?
Sir, as I mentioned, there is one kind of software known as modeling software for modeling 3D object, and another kind of software is known as the slicing software to convert the .stl file to machine readable file, that is G codes, right? So for that, we are, for example, if you have heard about the SketchUp or AutoCAD or CATIA, ProE, SolidWorks like softwares, they are using in modeling the 3D models, and the softwares like Cura, Simplify 3D, they are used in making the G code files from the .stl file.
Hello, Raj sir.
Yes, sir.
What about environment and health problem?
Environment and health problem, sir. It is, I can say, the material dependent. If, for example, in the material extrusion, if you are using PLA material, then it is not the harmful for the environment and for the human beings. But if you are using the ABS, which is petroleum-based product, so it has to be made into a separate chamber, and there should be a well-ventilated room. Because it harms to the human body.
Conclude this session. Thank you very much, Mr. Raj, for giving us such a wonderful presentation. And I would like to thank our management and our chairman, Mr. Jawar Chawda, and our director, Dr. Deepak Patel, for giving us opportunity to arrange such type of the webinars. And I would like to thank Mr. Raj for giving such a wonderful session, and also all the participants from the various states of the India. And also I would like to special thanks to our head, all the head of departments, our faculty members, and special thanks to Mr. Hemant Patel and Utsav Dhodakia for coordinating and helping this from the IT department. So once again, thank you very much to all the participants, and we are going to share a feedback form link in your registered email ID, and also I have shared this feedback form link through chat box. Okay, so you go through that feedback form link, and this link will be open until the 30 minutes. So after submitting this feedback form, you will get your certificates. Okay, so thank you very much to all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.